Lantra now. Lantra has some pace. He's going to go straight outside. He's going to go all the way.
This is Harry Bandara. Runs around. What a brilliant try.
Draws and passes. Beautifully done. Just going in for the try, and it's a try.
සතුට බෙදන නම
ඔබ ළඟ රැඳි නම
සනසුම දෙන නම
එය සිංහ නම
මිහිර මවන නම
අවස නිවන නම
සෙනෙහ බෙදන නම
එය සිංහ නම මුළු පවුලට සතුට සදන සිංහ අති විශිෂ්ට විශ්වාසය
To ThePapare.com and Dialogue TV and also My TV. This is our live coverage coming to you live from the Havelock Sports Club. It's the second round of the Singer Schools League Rugby Tournament 2018. It's St. Peter's taking on Kingswood College this evening here at the Havelock Park. Both teams having to travel during the last week, and of course Kingswood coming down to Colombo yesterday to settle into this game nice and clean. It's been a rainy week so far in Colombo. As you can see, it's gloomy weather here at Havelock Park today, as well as the teams have just stepped into warm-up, and skies have been very gloomy throughout the week in Colombo. It's been raining heavily. I should say it's been pouring cats and dogs, as Kingswood College have just travelled down doing their drills straight away in the pitch. Joining me on the commentary box today on the pre-match is Inshaf Kafur. Good evening, Inshaf.
Good evening to you, Dinuk. Of course, Kingswood College quite unfortunate last week to not get that win. They were leading at half-time, that sudden try from Ruchira Kanayaka, but unfortunately they could not get through. A late minute surge from Ashan Gunasekara, the Isipatana clan, got them through to a 10 points to 5 victory, and the Kingswoodians will be looking to rectify those areas and try to get themselves a W after this encounter.
Yeah, on the other hand, St. Peter's College travelling up to Pallakele, it's always a hard place to play. But they were very comfortable early on in the game, outbeating the Trinitians. Here's the live coming to you from the Havelock Park. It's St. Peter's taking on Kingswood College. Of course, as I've said before, Peter's College have travelled last week to Kandy and managed to win the Deshamania Major Dennis Pereira Trophy back-to-back for the fourth year, beating Trinity College 28 points to 21. That's how that finished up in Pallakele. And now they are here to play Kingswood College this evening. 28 degrees Celsius. It was running up to about 30 to 40 in the first round games. Now it has come down to 28 thunderstorms That's what we have been experiencing in Colombo this season. Wind speed, of course, 16 kilometers per hour from south to east. Humidity is 81%, but of course out there it will feel much more comfortable than how it was in the first round, isn't it, Inshaf?
Of course, I think this time around the Kingswoodians will be having the upper hand. Last weekend against Isipatani, it was a pouring rain here, of course, at Nithavala, and the Kingswoodians adapted well. I think their forwards, Rashpika Chandaratna, Milan Veerasinghe, as well as the hooker, played very well. I think that was the key for Kingswood, but they could not get themselves through. But the Peterites not taking anything away from the forwards, Jamidu Fernando, Julian Charles, and all together with the scrum half, of course, Jason Karunaratne. He had to leave the field abruptly in the second half, but he'll be ready to play this time around. So we will take a look at the encounter. I think the Kingswood Peterite rivalry has been something that has been fiercely fought, and we have a short video clip of the rivalry from 2011 up to this time in 2018.
Lovely long cutout pass, 2-on-1 situation, and brilliant offload come.
Didn't happen. Long cutout pass. Extra numbers. Should have offloaded earlier. In the corner.
There you go. That's the rivalry that will be coming for in 2018 as well. The Singer Schools Rugby League clash between St. Peter's and Kingswood. Of course, St. Peter's having the upper hand in almost all the encounters, except for that year in 2015, Dinuk, where Vizara Fighting's team came this close to winning that at Bogambara, 13 points to 15. They lost that game to Kevin Dixon's side. Dixon, of course, did not play that game. I remember correctly, if I'm not wrong, it was Nishan Pereira who captained that St. Peter's team, and he and his men were able to win that one, 15 points to 13. That's how close these Kingswoodians came, but unfortunately, they could not get that through.
Yeah, past few years has not been in the side of Kingswood. I would say Kingswood have been the early 2000s or mid 2000s were a side to watch for. From there on, they were losing a lot of games against top quality A division teams. Were not sustained in the A division. Went to B, came back to A, and now they are here for the first time after quite a while. And Kingswood College will want to make that opportunity count, and they have done fairly decently so far this season. as St. Peter's College on the near side are warming up. This was last week's results. St. Joseph's College beating Wesley here at the same venue last Friday. 4 tries, 3 conversions to 2 tries against Wesley College. Royal College hammering Zaira 41 points to 5, 7 tries. That's how much they scored. And then a closely contested game up in Pallakali, 28 points to 21. Peters College beating Trinity College. And then Isipatana College against Kingswood, also very close, 10 points to 5 up in Nittavela. That was on Sunday. So a very short turnaround for Kingswood College. 1 day of travelling, Sunday match, and they will have had about 3 training sessions. Of course, or 2 or 3, maximum 2 or 3 training sessions before they travel down to Colombo. How much that will impact Inshaf?
Of course, I don't think that's going to be affecting the Kingswoodians too much. They've been traveling to Colombo as well. And let's take a look at the performers there. See, there you go. I think Hirusha Sampath, their number 9, I think from the base of that scrum as well as at attack play, he and his combination, Asil Senivaratna, has been a standout in those Kingswood colours wearing that red jersey.
Yeah, you correctly said that against St. Joseph's. He knocked off a superb 40-meter penalty. This is how the Cub segment stands. Royal College, the unbeaten leaders so far with 35 points in total, 6 out of 6 for them. St. Peter's College also contesting for the top position, also with 35 points, 6 out of 6 for them. So they'll take match by match. St. Joseph's College going down in the Champions Clash a few weeks ago here at Havelock Park. 6, they just won 5, and that 1 loss to Royal College keeps them at 3rd place with 31 points. And then we have Isipatana College also going down 1 to St. Peter's College on the B segment of Division 1, and that they end up with 29 points. And then Kingswood College, 3 out of 3 wins and 3 losses for them with 18. Wesley with 17 points. Trinity College at 7th with 15 points, and Zahira College at the bottom with just 2 wins and 11 points. And that's how the Cup segment stands. So all to play for St. Peter's College today against Kingswood College. It's a big game if they have to carry this league interesting till the last game in about a couple of weeks, isn't it?
Of course, in contrast to last year's segment, we had 4 teams who were competing for that number 1 position. No one was unbeaten. Of course, this time around we have 2 unbeaten teams, Royal and St. Peter's. Let's see if this game will go on to that final week where Royal will play St. Peter's.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if we to see that happen. If Royal have to play St. Peter's in that final game. Of course, before that, St. Peter's College, of course, have their work cut out. They'll play St. Joseph's College next week. Today they'll play Kingswood, and then they will have to play Royal in that final week. So there's a lot happening in terms of St. Peter's College. On the other hand, Kingswood College will also have to play the opponents on the other side. Here are some of the key players for Kingswood College who have carried this team throughout in the past few weeks in this league, Singer Schools League rugby tournament. In Shaf, it has been a very good welcome to the A division for the Kings.
Of course, I think it was redemption after they were relegated in 2016. It's a disappointment for the Kingswoodians. Kingswood, of course, the founders of rugby here, started playing at 1906. Again, that was that game against Trinity that marked the beginning for them, and they've come a long way this season to redeem themselves. And just to look at the try scorers and the point scorers, of course, Shehan Lena Patirana, he was the man who was behind that attack for the Peterites all throughout, and it was visible in that Trinity Peters game as well, where he controlled the situation very correctly, and he has 59 points with him. And then, of course, Gamunuchetia 3 hat-tricks and a try for his 10 tries that he scored. So
this season he was there on the top in the last season itself. Gamunuchetia for St. Joseph's College, who have had a fantastic couple of years for the Josephians so far since he have donned that blue and white jersey. He will play his match of his life next week. That will be the Joe Pete next week coming up. Talented team, Kingswood College, but just have to manage themselves and get those right decisions at the right time. On the other hand, St. Peter's College, Sanat Martis, of course, taking over the Pete Wrights for the second time in history. And he has made a comeback with a positive note with 6 out of 6. Lot more action coming up after this. We'll have the team news, some surprises. Of course, stay tuned to ThePapare.com and Dialogue TV and also My TV. It's the second round of the Singers Schools League. St. Peter's College taking on Kingswood College live from Havelock Sports Club. Stay tuned.
Let's start a life-changing partnership. Union Assurance.
Isn't it time to grow up? Now you can with current accounts from DFCC Bank. DFCC Bank. Keep growing.
Some see a myriad of possibilities ready to break out in glory. The choice of every Sri Lankan. No limit.
පිරිසිදු ෆ්‍රෙෂ් හිසක් තියෙන පිරිමි ශක්තිමත් ඒත් අධික තෙල් සහ ඉස්සොරි වලට පුළුවන් ඒ ශක්තිය නැති කරන්න මම ක්ලියර් මෙන් තෝරගන්නේ ඒ නිසායි ක්ලියර් මෙන් අධික තෙල් සහ ඉස්සොරි zero කරන නෙවල් මෙන්තෝල් වලින් සමන්විත නිසා මගේ හිස කෙස් හැම විටම ෆ්‍රෙෂ් ඒ වගේම ඉස්සොරි වලින් නිදහස් ක්ලියර් මෙන් ඉස්සොරි zero කරයි ලෝවාංක එකේ මෙන්ස් ෂැම්පූ
ශ්‍රී ලාංකීය ටෙලිවිෂනයේ මීළඟ පෙරළිය
MJN JQ Shopping TV
උසස් තත්ත්වයේ ජපන් නිෂ්පාදන
පහසු මිලට වට්ටම් සහිතව
ගෙදරටම ගෙන්වා ගන්න සෑම දිනකම උදෑසන 10ට
MJN JQ Shopping TV බලන්න
Dialogue Television Dialogue Now channel number 106
සතුට බෙදන නම
ඔබ ළඟ රැඳි නම
සනසුම දෙන නම
එය සිංහ නම
මිහිර මවන නම
පවස නිවන නම
පවුලට සතුට සදන සිඟ අත විශිෂ්ට විශ්වාසය.
Let's start a life-changing partnership. Union Assurance.
Isn't it time to grow up? Now you can with home loans, education loans and vehicle loans from DFCC Bank. DFCC Bank. Keep growing.
Energetic and daring, some see the world in vibrant shades. The choice of every Sri Lankan, no limit.
Be a part of the latest shopping revolution. Now you can shop from the comfort of your home with MJ and JQ Shopping TV, bringing you the latest high-quality Japanese products right to your doorstep. Affordable prices, unbelievable discounts. Every day at 10 a.m. on Dialogue Now, channel number 1. Dialogue Television, Sri Lanka's #1 television experience.
පිරිසිදු ෆ්‍රෙෂ් හිසක් තියෙන පිරිමි ශක්තිමත්. ඒත් අධික තෙල් සහ ඉස්සොරි වලට පුළුවන් ඒ ශක්තිය නැති කරන්න මම ක්ලියර් මෙන් තෝරගන්නේ ඒ නිසායි. ක්ලියර් මෙන් අධික තෙල් සහ ඉස්සොරි zero කරන නැවුම් මෙන්තෝල් වලින් සමන්විත නිසා මගේ හිස කෙස් හැම විටම ෆ්‍රෙෂ්. ඒ වගේම ඉස්සොරි වලින් නිදහස්. ක්ලියර් මෙන් ඉස්සොරි zero කරයි. ලුවාංක එකේ මෙන්ස් ෂැම්පූ.
මේ දන්නවද?
මොකද්ද?
ඉතින් කැප්ටන් කරලා.
දන්නවා.
මේ අතුසිංහ ලංකාවට නෝට්.
දන්නවා.
කෙවින් ඩික්සන් දන්නවා.
දන්නවා. දන්නවා.
ඊයේ රග්බි මැච් එක. එතකොට සුරංග ලක්මල් කියපු දේ දන්නේ නැහැ නේද? ඕකනේ කියන්නේ අපරෙත් එක හිටියා නම් ඔහොම ස්ටක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
ස්පෝර්ට්ස් වලට ඔයගොල්ලෝ කැමතිද?
අනිවාර්යෙන්.
ඔව් නෑ හොඳටම අඩුයි.
Yeah of course.
අඩුයි යත්. ඔව්. කදාසම ස්පෝර්ට් එක.
ෆුට්බෝල්.
ක්‍රිකට්.
බාස්කට්බෝල්. අපේ UFC වගේ දේවල් නම් සවන බලනවා.
ෆන් ඇන් රැලි විතරයි.
කැමතිම ක්‍රීඩකයෙක් ඉන්නවද කියලා?
අරවින්ද ඩි සිල්වා, අර්ජුන රණතුංග,
සංගක්කාර.
ඒ සරත් ජයසූරිය 96 ටීම් එකම හොඳයි.
ක්‍රීඩා පුවත් සිංහලෙන් www.thepapare.com වෙබ් අඩවියට පිවිසලා සිංහල භාෂාව තෝරාගන්න. ක්‍රිකට්, රග්බි, පාපන්දු, වොලිබෝල්, මලල ක්‍රීඩා, පැසිපන්දු විතරක් නෙමෙයි වෙනත් ක්‍රීඩා සහ විශේෂාංග ලිපි උනත් The Papare සිංහල තුලින්. ඇයි අපේ වීඩියෝ පිටුව ක්‍රීඩාව හා සම්බන්ධ දහසකුත් එකක් වීඩියෝ සම්මුඛ සාකච්ඡා ඒ වගේම ඇසිදිසි, රග්බි පිටියේ කතා, ස්පෝර්ට්ස් මසාලා වගේ සතිපතා ජනප්‍රිය විශේෂාංග නරඹන්න. ඔබේ පරිගණකයෙන්, ටැබ් එකෙන්, එහෙමත් නැත්නම් ස්මාර්ට්ෆෝන් එකෙන් ලබා ගන්න ඔබට ලේසියෙන්ම පුළුවන්. ThePapare සිංහල ක්‍රීඩා පුවත් ඩිජිටලීකරණය.
We don't make this stuff up here. You're watching the best researched in-depth analysis on schools rugby 2018. You're on ThePapare.com. Welcome to the breakdown.
Welcome to live action. We are with the Singer Schools Rugby League second round week 2 action as St. Peter's College hosts Kingswood College here in Havelock Park. Of course, the weather gods have cleared up and looks like we are going to have an exciting 70 minutes of rugby here, Dinu.
Yeah, it should be. It's going to be very exciting because both teams would like to play fast, open rugby. Conditions are perfect. Would be a bit greasy though, as the crowd building up slowly but steadily. A lot of people on a Friday here in Colombo coming off their office, and there is a couple of buses which have travelled down on the A1 to witness their school children play here some rugby in Colombo. Not the first time, of course, they have travelled here. The Kingswoodians, they were here for the Joseph's game as well, and here they are for another game against St. Peter's here at Havelock Park. There you go, kids enjoying themselves. It's a bit of family time as well, seeing their children play in front of them.
Of course, I think it's going to be an exciting game here. St. Peter's College out to retain their unbeaten tag, and it will be important that they get that bonus point as well, Dinuk, because it's a league at the end, and then it will all come down. It will all come down to that points that they scored, and then later the tries, and then the other points. There you go, that's the St. Peter's starting lineup. Abdullah Faiz, Julian Charles and Jamidu Fanan. I think these three players have been the revelation for the Peterites in the front row. And Faiz, look out for Julian Charles, of course. Charles has been standout. Then Senra Pereira, Johan Fernando, the second row combination for St. Peter's.
Yeah, big lock forwards, isn't it? 5 to 6 and then 90 kilograms. Then we have the loose forwards. Lankesh Pereira, Bilal Hilmi had a good game up in Kandy. Lakshan Uduana, another 82 kg, 5'10 flanker for St. Peter's College. The halves combination.
Dilshan Madhusanka, of course, getting his start in that number 9. They're reserving Jason Kanaratna, and Kenneth Vimaladas will be starting in that fly half position.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how that pans out. Shanal Silva and Rukshan Madhushankar, who had a fantastic game against Trinity College, the 76 kilogram inside centre for St. Peter's College. And then Shehan Leonapatrana, what a player he has been at number 15 with Sunita Fernando and Dylan Fernando on the wings for St. Peter's College. Looks a solid lineup for St. Peter's College. This is the Kingswood lineup. Rashmukha Chandaratna, Tuan Dilshan and Pathum Veera Singh. Big front row, huge front row for Kingswood College. And for the second we have Chatura Soisa and Shanuka Gedaragoda, who had a decent game as well. Shanuka Gedaragoda, the 5'7 lock forward for Kingswood College. And then the third row, Channa Gunasekara, the skipper Tarindu Valley Gampala, and Janita Ratnayaka is a fantastic flanker, a bit like Dilip Selvam. Reminds me of the number 7, very hard working flanker for Kingswood College. Scrum half Hirusha Netmina, he's been the key player with RCD Seni Viratna. This is the best scrum half fire combination in the tournament for me. Has been excellent off the ball as well. Shashan Rahman, he has to step up today if the Kingswood College have to make something out of it, as well as Dakshina Athukoral at the outside centre. And then the last line of defence, Tumula, Valigampala, Dina Lekanayaka and Dhananjay Nuwan will complete the starting 15 for Kingswood College, who will play in the traditional red jersey from left to right. A referee for today, Hasanta Viranga, Shanta Aruna and Nalin Lasanta will be the assistant referees, and the television match official will be Anil Jayasinghe. Ashanta Veerasinghe, who will officiate the match today. We are ready for kickoff at Havelock Park, and joining me on the commentary box is Shanaka Amarasinghe as Kingswood kick off. Not much distance there, straight into the prop forward. Charles taking the ball into contact for Peters College. In comes to the 40-meter mark, trying to go to the short side early on. St. Peters College did that a lot last weekend up in Kandy. Here's St. Peters College once again. This time going out to Shan Lianapatarana, who has a good boot on him. This is an opportunity for Kingswood College. Very dangerous counter-attacking, needs support. Here is Sampath taking the ball into contact. Dangerous player. Asiri acting as the scrum half. Valgampula, the skipper. Ball pops off the ruck, and that's a knock forward by Asiri, looking up before the ball came to him. Advantage for St. Peters College. Now looking for options on the wide side, but not coming good. So early mistakes, conditions not that good for ball handling, but these two teams have played in these conditions, Shanaka.
Yes, they have. Good evening, everyone, and it is a very interesting game here, poised in this clash between St. Peters and Kingswood. Kingswood coming off after what they will believe is an unjustified loss against Isipathana. They must be smarting from that. Can St. Peters know that they desperately have to keep the unbeaten tag if they are to make a match of this in going into the final few weeks of the season so far. But conditions underfoot, just walked across the ground and it's really soggy, really slippery. And it's at that point, where it's not really raining hard, but it's just slippery and muddy, and the ball is just like a bar of soap. So we're going to see a few errors, and whichever team manages to minimize the errors and plays a better kicking game is probably going to come up trumps here. But for St. Peters, without Karunaratna in the
late in the second half, Mark Asav also in the bench for St. Peters College.
Steady.
Then we'll be looking to take his chance. They go short side again. This is St. Peters' go-to ploy. That's their pattern. They go to the short side, try and drag the defense out to one side first before attacking. Here's the big run again by Abdullah. Ball carrying has been excellent this season so far. That's a nice little bust up the middle from Uduana. Madhusankar again, sniping. Doesn't have any passes available to him. Going in again is Vimaladasa. Acting at scrum half, finding a willing ball runner. This is good work from St. Peters. Keeping it close, keeping it tight, not opting for the expansive passes. Now on the 22, but it looks like it's been turned over. Beautifully done there by number 5 for Kingswood, Zoisa. And the ball goes up in the air and will beat everyone into touch. So St. Peters did really well to get into the 22 and just a little bit of a lapse of concentration.
Yeah, they were very simple, basic rugby playing for the conditions, isn't it, Shanaka? Keeping it nice and close, hitting it hard as well. Big runners in the midfield, using the short side for good effect, testing the Kingswood defense early on. And as soon as Kingswood got the ball there, they just cleared the line. So very good attacking pattern shown there by St. Peters College, especially in these conditions where they can be greasy. They're playing that short but very hard and powerful game.
Yes, they're very direct, running onto the ball nicely, and that'll be difficult for this Kingswood pack to stop. They'll need to make sure they keep the ball whenever they have it, like now. And that's Valigampala letting it scoot out behind him. That's not good work, but Sampath just cannot control the bounce. Looks like the referee has spotted it indeed, so he will come back for the knock-on. And those are little errors, isn't it, Dinuk? Just channeling that ball at the back of the scrum, making sure your scrum half is not under pressure. That's the kind of thing on these rainy days that are going to make all the difference.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where Kingswood have won and lost games this season so far. Have come up very close sometimes. These are things that they need to get it right, because this team is a very talented Kingswood team. After a long time, we are seeing the Reds in the A division, but they're very capable of beating these big teams. We saw they almost pulled over one against St. Joseph's. Isipatana went down by very close margins, but against St. Peter's, they'll have their work cut out. Need to get everything right.
Yes, at Isipatana game, they would have kicked themselves after that. They should really have come away with that one. But again, the conditions just letting them down, putting the ball to the boot a little bit too unstructuredly. Hirusha Sampath will have to discipline himself in terms of kicking. Big thump by Vimaladasa, looking for territory, and that's a lovely follow-up. Superb offload as well. This is Lianapathirana. Just leaves the ball behind Shahan Lianapathirana, who's been outstanding at the back for St. Peter's this season. Just couldn't hold on to that offload for long enough until the support arrived. But that's what St. Peter's are going to look to do against smart play by coach Sanath Martis in these conditions. Look for the kick. Vimaladasa just giving it enough height for the follow-up. Nice follow-through there by Madhusanka. In fact, it's Silva. And Lianapathirana just couldn't hold on to that one.
Yeah, very good tactical play, playing for position, playing for territory, not for position, but putting a lot of pressure and managing to get the ball back. So that's where Peters have come good so far in the first 6 minutes or so.
Veligampala goes off the back, and that's good work from him, giving his kickers a few more options on either side of the pitch. Kingswood with the ball in hand for the first time, setting up a couple of phases. And that's put up in the air by Asiri Seneviratna. Good follow-up tackle being made by the number 19, Fernando. But St. Peter's will do well to control this possession again. They know that they've got it back cheaply. Madhusanka puts the ball across the face of the defense. A bit of a high hit there, but Abdullah will keep going. Good line speed there from Kingswood. It's available now for Peters again. Charging up was Charles. Vimaladasa shows and goes. Kingswood defense at close quarters was good that time. And it looks like they've just managed to get over the ball, but Fernando didn't get there in time. And they go back for the previous penalty.
Hands on the ruck, says the referee. The previous penalty. So here's another great opportunity. The replay once again. Initially was the clear daylight, was again a 50-50 call. Right on top of that ball, the arriving player was for Kingswood College. Tackler released, the arriving player was right on top of that. St. Peter's College now will get the opportunity to start things again just outside the 22.
But it's even more difficult with the rule change, isn't it, Dinuk? Now that the tackler can't play the ball from wherever he got to enter through the gate. And that time I thought the Kingswood player had rights to the ball. And it's always a telltale sign when the attacking player, the arriving player, binds on your back. That shows that you've got possession, that you've got there first. I think referees need to be able to tell that body language. Nice win in the lineup there from St. Peter's.
Stay back. Advantage.
Here's charging still going. That's a brilliant run. Smashed to the ground that time. Fernando, that was, who made all those yards. Here they go again through the big ball carrying front rows. Madhusanka waits, but he will let his forwards do the hard work here.
Go hands.
Managed to rescue it again. This is Abdullah, and the ball's just been knocked on, has it? No, referee says it went backwards. And Fernando finds himself in the thick of things once again.
Stay back.
St. Peter's still pounding at that Kingswood line. They're just inches away now. Driven back by a big counter ruck from Chandaratna that time. Still Commando crawling towards the line there. The Petrites will need to make sure they don't knock this one on with the line at their mercy. Close quarter stuff, and the try is scored. It's the first try of the game to St. Peter's. It looked inevitable the way that they were pounding at that line. And the big forward pack has made their intentions clear early on. Fernando it was who took it close. And here's the pick up and charge from the other Fernando. And over the line goes the number 14. That's yet another Fernando. So all three Fernandos involved in that move there. Last three touches from Fernandos. And it was a try to number 16. To number 14 in the end. Johan Fernando.
Yeah, day for Fernandes for St. Peter's College at the Havelock Park. What a start for them. Again, it was Chandaratna. Apart from him, there was no one else who were making tackles after tackle off that ruck. He just showed perfectly. Made a tackle, rolled away, stood up again, made another. But the fourth time, Johan Fernando was just too hard to stop. Too many Fernandos there for Chandaratna to stop Shanaga.
Absolutely. Shan Leonard Patirana adds the extras, no problem at all. So he's a guy who can keep that scoreboard ticking over. Suffered a head knock and his forehead is heavily bandaged, but nothing too serious there. Here's a man who will need to make a difference for Kingswood. Rajanayaka in that number 7 jersey. Outstanding defender. And he needs to get over the ball as much as he possibly can to try and prevent this St. Peter's juggernaut from rolling along. But the Peterite technique has been excellent so far. Vimaladasa all alone. Thumps this way back onto the halfway line, but Asiri Saniviratna waits. In fact, that's Hirusha Sampath, the nephew of Sri Lanka's fullback Akila Nuan. Punted forward and travelling back is Sampath to try and fall on that one again and hopes his forwards will support him.
Stay back.
They do get back eventually. The ball handling is what has let Kingswood down so far this season a little bit.
Stay back, stay back, stay back. Use it.
And Sampath comes away with the box kick, but is it far enough? No, it isn't. That's well claimed that time again.
Look.
And Peterites pile in.
Stay.
Still driving forward, the Peterites. Here's Madhusanka now. Vimaladasa, that's a lovely pass by Vimaladasa. Just manages to find the willing runner. And that's Johan Fernando, the try scorer. It's a good angle.
Stay back.
Cut back in by Charles there. This is really good technique from the Peterites. They really know how to fall when they're isolated. Manage to turn their bodies, make the ball available. That's a really good technique. Madhusanka calling for his players on the open side.
Release tackle.
Now he'll look to spin it. Here's the big man Charles again, driving forward. Madhusanka. Here's an opportunity again. He's over the line, and does he get it down? No, he doesn't, not yet. And that's excellent defense from Kingswood. Well held up, referee right on the spot there to see what happened. And it was Ekanayaka who managed to get under that ball, and Uduana just could not try and pressure that onto the floor.
Yeah, once again St. Peter's College using their forwards to good effect. Very close ball, a lot of offloads in that play, and then in the end spinning it out wide, looking for options through Uduana. But it was Ekanayaka right underneath that ball, not big in stature, but managed to hang on to that big second row, rolled away to the correct side, made sure that the ball is right on top of him, and he put his body underneath.
Steady, both steady.
Really good defensive commitment from the fullback. That's the kind of bravery you expect the face of a much bigger forward. Uduana was well over the line, just couldn't get the ball down. That's a nice run by Hilmi off the back of the scrum.
Release.
Should have probably straightened a little bit earlier, but Kingswood's defense is
Stay back, let's
staunch for the moment. Here they are, they've seen the line and well turned over there by Rajanayaka. Didn't allow the Kingswood, the Pete Wright ball carrier, to get the ball away. It's Abdullah again. Madhusanka has been moving the ball quickly from the base, and here's Chandraratna trying to hold this up. Referee didn't call a maul, so it's just a tackle now. Madhusanka still has it on the open side. There's players lining up here for St. Peter's. Just couldn't get it away. That was a good bit of control there from the other Madhusanka. Big hits coming in from Chandraratna. And here's another one from Veerasinghe, the other prop forward.
Stay back. Stay.
Madhusanka again now. Smashed in the tackle was... again, St. Peter's dragged back. Desperate defense now from Athakorala there. But turned out to be another ball handling error. And obstruction there. Accidental offside, getting in the way of their players. So not finding the right pass that time. But good, strong defense from Kingswood.
Yeah, 1 to 15 for Kingswood were excellent. Tackling techniques, couple of tackles Asiri made on those big running men. Perfect tackling technique, went very low, made sure that he made the tackle properly. And then they always went with two players for the tackle, since in one went low, one went for the ball. And it was very hard hits, couple of prop forwards there, Chandraratna and Veerasinghe going very hard at the opponents. I think after some time we have some good mobile front rowers in this team.
Steady, both steady.
Yes, and they're willing to put in the hard hits as well. Close to the line, they're not lacking any effort. Here's Gidragoda, who goes off the back. And that ball squirts out the back, and there was clearly hands in that one. Could have been anywhere in the Havelock Park and he would have seen that there were hands in that ruck. Referee has no hesitation, and Kingswood come away from that after excellent defense. They've won themselves that respite.
This is what good defense can do. Unfortunately, the kick not getting much distance there. Asiri need to get his game up today.
To be fair to him though, Dinuk, he was almost under the posts there, so he has to make the big trek from the middle of the field right to the touchline as well, and then worry about distance. So it's a difficult day for kickers as well. But they desperately need to win the ball here, Kingswood, and keep the ball. Veerasinghe to throw into the line out. And that's a good win from Soisa.
Advantage, got 10 meters.
Compromising a little bit in terms of height, but the technique was good enough to make sure he won that.
Advantage, come in. Number 3,
Kingswood mauling, but the maul is not well constructed. But it doesn't matter because the referee has found that St. Peter's infringed. Not 10 meters from them, advancing before the line out was over. You can see Vimala Das asking exactly what the problem was, and he will be given an explanation.
Not 10 meters.
So the line out is not yet over. Now it's over, and that's when St. Peter's can come up. And the referee ruling that St. Peter's came up before that.
Yeah, Vimala Das, they're just checking with the referee if he didn't get the call correctly from the assistant there.
Capturing the essence of schools rugby. Don't forget that you can visit ThePapare.com and buy all our photos. All available at very reasonable prices. And again, Veerasinghe to throw into this line out. Zoisa will be their target man, surely. Yes. They go to the back and find him. This time they set up the maul from number 6. Getting in the middle of that was Fernando. Here's Veerasinghe again. Manages to stay on his feet long enough to get some support in. Asiri Seniviratna gives the ball over to Athakorala. Athakorala spills the ball in contact though again. The handling coming to haunt Kingswood. Liana Patirana stands at first receiver and puts that big thump up the field, manages to thread the needle and bounce it out into touch with absolutely no angle there. He's got the ball on a shoestring, doesn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's a wonderful kicker, Liana Patirana. Knock forward there, good tackling technique, going for the ball and the man. And from there on, St. Peter's College had just one way. And they've been doing that throughout this match so far. Put the kick behind. Would have been praying for that ball just to stay inside the field, and it did perfectly. The ball slips off the Kingswood player. Should be a knock-on. Yes, it is a knock-on. So handling errors are costing the game for Kingswood College.
As the rain comes down, it's gotten a lot heavier. You can see that ball should probably have been taken though. It was up in there a long time, Pereira. And the ball just bouncing off his hands. But let's go back to that previous play. Madhusanka in the headband at the bottom of your screen there. More than his defense, it was a communication. He said, you stay with the outside man, I've got this one. And he followed up, showed the outside to Atakorala and smashed him in the midriff. Excellent technique.
Not in that scrum though. That was the NRL scrum, if you can see that replay once again. No contest at all.
Got a feel for the Pete Wright prefects who are on the touch lines in their blazers, getting wet in the rain. But what was that scrum really? Nobody was interested in shoving. See whether things improve here.
Fine. Sit. Steady, both steady.
Again, it seems a token effort from both sets of players. Gedaragoda goes off the back. Manages to make some yards.
Stay back.
Irusha Sampat's looking for the box kick, but no, instead he goes to Asari Senivaratna. Senivaratna puts the kick in deep, and Liana Patirana has it covered. Lets it bounce though, which is dangerous in these conditions. But does well to get back and ask for the support. But now he's swarmed on by Kingswood defenders. Does well to lay this ball back, and Madhusanka now has a few options. Lovely run. And taken out was he. That was KD Fernando who put the kick in. And was he taken out? Will the referee look for a penalty? But SN Fernando is the one who followed that up. And I think the referee has deemed quite correctly that there was not much in it.
Yeah, it was. I think the arriving player was just committed there. Didn't have enough time to bail out of it. As the rain continues here in Colombo, not for the first time in this week. It has been more worse than this in the evenings. Pete Rice must be used to this practice in these conditions. Here that replay once again. Good step, runs around, good pace shown there. Here he puts the kick, but there was nothing much in that.
Probably should have kept the ball in hand there. Dinuk, not much to be achieved from the chip, but most players who get free on the outside in Sri Lanka opt for the chip or to do something fancy rather than just step back into the field of play. Good maul there by St. Peter's. Came down without any illegal activity on the part of Kingswood. Lovely offload there, well picked up. Here we have St. Peter's again. 7-0 on the scoreboard, and this is how they got there, through their forwards.
Release tackle.
Johan Fernando, the try scorer. Madhusanka again calls his forwards in, says, you guys handle this. Hilmi. So again a good bust up the short side. It looked like Veerasinghe may have got rights to that ball. But the referee has come back for a penalty.
That's a long advantage.
And rightly so, Dinuk, because the rule book says that you can play advantage until the team receives tactical or territorial advantage. They hadn't gone anywhere territorially. They hadn't received any tactical advantage. And it's not about the length of time, which is what a lot of our viewers seem to think it is, or a lot of the crowds also seem to think it is. It's about whether advantage has been received, and that time it clearly hadn't. Liana Pathirana opting for the safe option to find touch rather than find the best touch. As the rain pours down here at Havelock Park, and already soggy ground conditions will get much, much worse.
Yeah, had an option there to go for 3 points or not. As St. Peter's College once again go for the rolling maul. And this time they bulldoze their way very close to the try line. Still going. Referee playing advantage once again. Here's an opportunity now for St. Peter's.
Oh, it's impossible almost not to drag the maul down in those circumstances. Hilmi bumps off one player. And now Madhusankar has it and he cuts back inside. Doesn't try the fancy stuff in this heavy downpour. Picked up again and run straight through was Pereira. LP Pereira. St. Peter's again trying to replicate the original try that they scored early on in this game. Madhusankar looks for his options. Fernando opts to go by himself, and that's a penalty. So the referee will come back for that collapsed maul. It's almost impossible not to collapse a maul in this weather. And he will have a chat to the Kingswood players. And hopefully this downpour will be short-lived, Dinuk, because it will get really bad in terms of light and conditions as well to continue this game for the safety of the players.
Yeah, it'll be a call. I just was thinking about it when the rain started pouring, because yesterday here in Colombo it was very bad. A match was cancelled like that early in the season. Let's a life-changing partnership, Union Assurance, who have been partnering with us on this Singer Schools League.
Little bit of an injury there to one of the Kingswood players. That's Fernando, the midfielder. Sorry, that's
Time on.
Jalil in the midfield. Can see how bad it is. It looks like a field that has been recently ploughed in preparation for sowing of the seeds. St. Peter's won't mind this though, because their big forward should be able to handle this. Nice ball movement there, nice draw and pass. But again, excellent defense from Kingswood. Really well won turnover there from the number 10. Asiri Senivaratna did outstandingly well to win that. And you can see Abdullah absolutely annoyed with his teammates. They've worked so hard to get there, the forwards. And Rajanayaka was in the thick of that.
Once again, defensive effort by Kingswood. If they can put that defensive effort up in the field, they can control more damage. But it's inside that red zone that they realize that they're about to concede 5 points and put their body on the line. Asiri Senivaratna made the tackle, went around.
Perfect technique from Senivaratna, swung his hips back onto his own goal side. And the referee was right on the spot to see him coming through the gate there. Tumula Veligampola, that you saw on your screen just a little while ago, hasn't really had much of the ball, and a short line out, especially in the face of this onslaught of rain. And Sampath puts the kick in to test Liana Pathirana. Trying conditions for any fullback. The best in the world will suffer. And Liana Pathirana puts this ball out on the full. So again, a mistake forced by Kingswood's good tactical play. So he'll have a line out in the opposition territory. They haven't got into the pit right half for a while. They'll need to make this count.
Yeah, not inside the 22. I think 0 minutes spent inside the 22 by Kingswood. So they will try to use their forwards. They have big forwards, Chandraratna and Veera Singha. But these two prop forwards are more of on a dry day, will want to pass the ball, look for holes, that kind of a front row, isn't it? This Kingswood front row. It'll really test how they will adapt to these conditions.
Yes, they're good ball carriers and they've got good ball skills as well. But unfortunately, in today's context, all those will be redundant. Now they'll just have to put their shoulder to the wheel, make sure they graft away and make their tackles count and make their carries count. Veerasinghe will not be upset by how long this is taking. They'll need a bit of a breather. And that's an untidy line-out ball again. See whether the referee thinks it's been knocked out. No, he hasn't. So Kingswood will keep that ball even though it was really untidy. Pick and go option is the only one that's available, but St. Peter's fringe defense is deadly. Making sure they don't allow the ball to come out quickly. Kingswood not as savvy in their pick up and go as St. Peter's are when they are executing it. They've lost yards, Kingswood, in this movement. And now Hirusha Sampath needs to look for his threes. Here's Jalil. Puts a little kick in. And Leona Pathirana is forced to thump this one back. It hasn't gone out yet. Yes, it has. And that was Shazan, in fact, who put the kick in. That was a pretty good kick under the circumstances. He got very little else to do there. Isolated outside.
Yeah, this weather not helping as well, for sure. Kingswood sending it out wide. Put the kick behind. A bit of football skills, which will be tested. The rugby ball spun there for some time and then decided to go into touch.
Yes, it was agonizingly spinning like a top there. And Ekanayake would have been desperate for it to go out. Good technique to fall on the ball there by Chandraratna. And good counter ruck as well coming in from Fernando there in the number 16 jersey for St. Peter's, disrupting the scrum half. Ekanayake, here's Rajanayake now. Turns, makes the ball available nicely. They've got to look for that box kick again because they're going to get nowhere fast on the halfway line if this is going to be their tactic. Asiri Seniviratna looks for the kick again. It's a cross kick and it was designed exactly to do what happened there, but unfortunately the two knock-ons combining for the referee to blow his whistle.
Yeah, you called it correct, Shanaka, to put that kick in, and it happened that way, and a knock forward, a mistake. This is a perfect time to play old-fashioned rugby, isn't it? Put a good up and underneath the post, have the chasers on. If the ball bounces off your Persian player, put a chip and chase and score a try. That kind of a situation.
Yes, and the ball will sit up nicely as well. It won't bounce into touch. It will just sit on the turf waiting to be picked up. So if Kingswood have the pace, then they really should look for that long kick and chase. St. Peter's also, they do have the pace, we know that. And they may even be looking for that kind of an option later on in the piece. Shazan, who's got excellent skills in the midfield, just having a chat, saying what needs to be done.
Follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. ThePapare.com, of course, have more than 200,000 plus followers on Facebook now and plus 25,000 followers on Instagram. So be a part of that excitement and sports activities around Sri Lanka. Here's another opportunity now for Kingswood College.
Terrible body position in the front row there. You can see that the tight head was moving up. They do well to get the ball out despite that though. And turned over that time. Pereira managing to find that ball on his side and picking it up without asking any questions. And winning the scrum for his team. So this is going to be a stop-start game. You can't blame either the teams or the officials for that because it's just out of their control how bad this rain is. But it's cleared up a little bit, Dinuk. But it has created really bad conditions underfoot. It was bad to start with and now it's terrible.
Here's the replay once again on how that happened. Just falling on and then leaving the ball. Very unfortunate for the player.
Gedara needed to do better that time. Needs to be a bit stronger in the tackle. Ball still in play after the charge down, but it's like a swimming pool there. Players enjoying themselves are just sliding around. You can see they're almost ankle deep in water. This is the charge down from Ovli Enapathirana. That was by the scrum half, number 21, Hirusha Sampath. That ball not going into touch either. It was kind of a central defender's tackle there by Shehan Lenapathirana, trying to kick that ball into touch, but didn't want to go anywhere.
Good pick up by Rajanayak in the end. Still a knock forward initially by Kingswood College. Will give another opportunity. Will the scrum half this time again go to his fly half? Vimal Adasa will be wanting his scrum half to kick it from the base itself.
This is an important scrum for Kingswood. If they can put some pressure on, they might win themselves a penalty, which will keep them in the half with just about a minute or so to go for the half-time whistle. And if they can get 3 points on the board, it will make a huge difference as Peters tried to run it out injudiciously, and the try is scored surely from Hirusha Sampath. He got his hands onto it. And just as we were talking about Kingswood scoring, something happens out of nothing but St. Peters. What were they thinking trying to run it out of there, Dinuk?
Running inside the 22, cost of the game almost up in Pallekele last week. Didn't want to kick again. Same mistake in very bad conditions this time. I just told you, Shahanaka, that ball might bounce in the place of Kingswood. If they can kick a couple of times, it's perfectly scripted there. And Sampath just pounced on top of that. Did he have enough pressure to score that try? Will be interesting to see.
Well, pressure is irrelevant, Dinuk, and this is something that we remember from back in the day when downward pressure was required. When we were playing rugby, downward pressure was part of the rule for grounding the ball, but it's now just grounding the ball. You don't need to have downward pressure on the ball. You just have to have contact with it and not knock it on in the in goal. So as long as he's touched the ball, it's on the ground and he's in the in goal, it's going to be a try. Did that come forward off the hand though? That's something that they'll need to look at. Off the hand of the number 23, Athakorala. Here's a little kick through. Let's look at the grounding first. He's over the line there. And for me, that's a try. If nothing has happened before that.
You may award a try.
Shamrat Fernando is a very experienced match official and he has no hesitation in awarding the try. Thought I saw it in real time as well, and it's going to be the first try on the stroke of half time for Kingswood. They've played 35 minutes and defended most of it. And Hirusha Sampath now will try and take his team into the half-time break on level pegging. And the kick is good. So it's 7 points all, Dinuk, and we might have a game on our hands given the way these conditions are playing.
Yeah, this Kingswood team played, both teams actually played in the same conditions up in Kandy. So they will not see anything different here. Of course, it's raining more than what they saw last week up in Kandy. So Hirusha Sampath now single-handedly getting the 7 points to Kingswood, who has been collecting a lot of points for the Kingswoodians this year. If they can go 7-all into half time, the Petrites will come out with a lot of pressure in the second.
Vimaladasa can barely get that ball off the ground, and it seems like it was knocked on there. Yes. So very difficult conditions, but the referee will blow for half time, and Gedragoda will be relieved as a result of that knock on that he didn't concede any points. So it's 7 points all at half time. In a torrential day here at Havelock Park in the Singer Schools rugby fixture between St. Peter's and Kingswood. Kingswood travelling down, hoping for better weather in Colombo, but really not getting it, Dinuk. It's been raining up in Kandy as well in the last couple of weeks, so both teams will be quite used to this, but being used to this kind of weather doesn't make it any easier. So let's wait and see what the second 35 minutes has in store for us. It's even Stevens here at Havelock Park at halftime.
Crowd not enjoying themselves as well.
Why would they? Look, it's a proper monsoonal downpour.
Yeah, Colombo was covered in the skies. 7 points all. That's the confirmation here at Havelock Park. Half time, Peters College scoring the first try, 7 points, and then Kingswood College just managing to score off Hirusha Sampath in that last minute of the first half. Here's the highlights of the first half. St. Peter's College scoring that first try of the game. This was way before the ground conditions was way better. Still we thought it was not good enough, but when Kingswood College scored that try, you'll see the difference. This was the first one of Johan Fernando for St. Peter's College scoring that try. Liana Patinana making no mistake with the conversion. 7 points. And this was the knock-on or the charge down by Liana Patirana. The kick-off Liana Patirana by Hirusha Sampath, who has been making most of the play, rightly so in this season, along with Rajanayak and Asiri Senimiratne, who have been match winners for Kingswood College. This is where it all happened, trying to run from their own 22. We have been talking about this throughout last week as well. Hirusha Sampath spotting it and touching it down underneath the post, which made the conversion very easy for him to go into half time with 7-all. There you go, the conversion went in. No problems at that moment. 7 points all, deadlock here at Havelock Park. That's after the first half of the Singer Schools League. Second round action between St. Peter's College and Kingswood College. We'll be back after a short commercial break.
බෙදන නම
ඔබ ළඟ රැඳි නම
සැනසුම දෙන නම
එය සිංහ නම
මිහිර මවන නම
අවස නිවන නම පවුලට සතුට සදන සිඟ අත විශිෂ්ට විශ්වාසය.
Let's start a life-changing partnership. Union Assurance.
Isn't it time to grow up? Now you can with current accounts from DFCC Bank. DFCC Bank. Keep growing.
Some see a myriad of possibilities ready to break out in glory. The choice of every Sri Lankan. No limit.
පිරිසිදු ෆ්‍රෙෂ් හිසක් තියෙන පිරිමි ශක්තිමත් ඒත් අධික තෙල් සහ ඉස්සුරි වලට පුළුවන් ඒ ශක්තිය නැති කරන්න. මම ක්ලියර් මෙන් තෝරගන්නේ ඒ නිසායි. ක්ලියර් මෙන් අධික තෙල් සහ ඉස්සුරි zero කරන නැවුම් මෙන්තෝල් වලින් සමන්විත නිසා මගේ හිස කෙස් හැම විටම ෆ්‍රෙෂ්. ඒ වගේම ඉස්සුරි වලින් නිදහස්. ක්ලියර් මෙන් ඉස්සුරි zero කරයි. ලෝවාංක 1 මෙන්ස් ෂැම්පූ.
ශ්‍රී ලාංකීය ටෙලිවිෂනයේ මීළඟ පෙරළිය
MJ and JQ Shopping TV.
උසස් තත්ත්වයේ ජපන් නිෂ්පාදන
පහසු මිලට වට්ටම් සහිතව
ගෙදරටම ගෙන්වා ගන්න සෑම දිනකම දැසන 10ට
MJ and JQ Shopping TV බලන්න.
Dialog Television, Dialog Now, channel number 106.
සතුට බෙදන නම
ඔබ ළඟ රැඳි නම
සැනසුම දෙන නම
එය සිංහ නම
මිහිර මවන නම
අවස නිවන නම
සෙනෙහ බෙදන නම
මුළු පවුලට සතුට සදන සිඟ අද විශිෂ්ට විශ්වාසය.
Let's start a life-changing partnership. Union Assurance.
Isn't it time to grow up? Now you can with home loans, education loans and vehicle loans from DFCC Bank. DFCC Bank. Keep growing.
Energetic and daring, some see the world in vibrant shades. The choice of every Sri Lankan, no limit.
පිරිසිදු ෆ්‍රෙෂ් හිසක් තියෙන පිරිමි ශක්තිමත්. ඒත් අධික තෙල් සහ ඉස්සුරි වලට පුළුවන් ඒ ශක්තිය නැති කරන්න මම ක්ලියර් මෙන් තෝරගන්නේ ඒ නිසායි. ක්ලියර් මෙන් අධික තෙල් සහ ඉස්සුරි zero කරන නැවුම් මෙන්තෝල් වලින් සමන්විත නිසා මගේ හිස කෙස් හැම විටම ෆ්‍රෙෂ්. ඒ වගේම ඉස්සුරි වලින් නිදහස්. ක්ලියර් මෙන් ඉස්සුරි zero කරයි. ලෝවාංක 1 මෙන්ස් ෂැම්පූ.
Be a part of the latest shopping revolution. Now you can shop from the comfort of your home with MJ and JQ Shopping TV, bringing you the latest high-quality Japanese products right to your doorstep. Affordable prices, unbelievable discounts. Every day at 10 a.m. on Dialog Now, channel number 1. Dialog Television, Sri Lanka's #1 television experience.
Very good evening and welcome back to a very wet Havelock Park as the Kingswood team in red await the arrival from the dressing rooms of the St. Peter's team, who have just been drawn level with on the scoreboard after they took an early lead in the first 10 minutes of this match. against Kingswood by bulldozing their way over the line from a close quarter barrage of hits, and Kingswood, with a little bit of a lucky bounce of the ball, have managed to squirt themselves under the post, and Hirusha Sampath just touching the ball down under the sticks in the last minute of that first half to try and get them level pegging, and obliging with the conversion himself to get them up to that point. 7 points all. St. Peter's coming back looking intense, but these ground conditions, as you can see on our ThePapare shots there, not looking like they're going to be very easy to contend with at all. It's like a field, as I said before, that has just been prepared for harvesting here, and it is a pretty appalling conditions underfoot, and how teams will adapt and how they will adapt their game plan is going to be something that we'll have to look at here. As we see Nizran coming onto the pitch as well. He's been one of their chief try scorers in the forwards in the first few rounds of the Singer Schools League, Dinuk, and his introduction shows that coach Sanath Martis has a few tricks up his sleeve yet.
Yeah, he still has Jason Karunaratne and also Mark Kasav in the bench.
Actually, he's not on the field. My apologies. They're still warming up, and he will be on the field shortly, I'm sure, but he's not on yet.
A lot of injuries dealt, isn't it, this Peters team. Managing that, Sanath Martis has done a good job so far with this Peters team. First year as coach. Got these players with 3 key players going out. Ravin Fernando, Mark Asav and Jason Karunaratne sitting out. This team has managed to stay unbeaten.
Kingswood, on the other hand, suffering a little bit of inexperience on their coaching bench throughout the course of this season. They would have really done well with having someone in the preseason, because it's a very talented bunch of kids, some outstanding players, and just a little bit more strength, conditioning, and a little bit of skills development in the early half of the season would have made a massive difference to them. But again, the ball just not bouncing, making life very difficult for the Kingswoodian, who came in to collect that one there. You can see the ball retention is very good from the Peterites, even in this really bad weather. Peters moving the ball a little bit more, and that time it was
Jason
Fernando who managed to take it forward. Still keeping it with the forwards, and it looks like Jason Karunaratne has indeed come on the park in the number 15 jersey. So look for a little bit of injection of pace from him. High tackle, says the referee. And Vimaladasa puts the little chip in, but he might have overcooked it a little, but it won't hurt because he's come back for the penalty. And this should be bread and butter for Liana Pathirana.
Yeah, 3 points. They need to go for points. I was a bit shocked to see them going into the touch before and losing the opportunity to score 3 points in the first half. St. Peter's College, he has an opportunity now to get that right. Just putting his arm around the neck. Not intentional though.
Well, that's a tough one, isn't it? Especially in these conditions. You've got the man coming at you low. You've got to ask, where else can you tackle from? It's not a dangerous hit, and referees probably have got to adjust themselves to these conditions as well. It wasn't a seatbelt tackle, but tough one for Veerasinghe, although the referee got it spot on in terms of what the law requires him to do.
Liana Pathirana now.
Former skipper of the Sri Lanka under-19 football team finds his way into the oval ball sport, doing a bit of a Webb Ellis there. Mythical Webb Ellis, a judge to have picked the ball up on the football field and run with it. And crossing over is Liana Pathirana, and putting it over is also Liana Pathirana, as he gives St. Peter's a 3-point lead. And in these conditions, 3 points is like gold, Dinuk. You've got to take every single opportunity you're given, and Liana Pathirana at fullback has done exactly that for his team. And that'll settle them down a little bit more. They would have felt aggrieved to be on even Stevens at half-time. That's the penalty, the high tackle that led to the 3 points. Kingswood now opting to go deep. Again to Leona Pathirana, who will look to thump this one out into touch, and that's a nice long kick. Buying his team 40 meters from under the post, so a good 60-meter kick there.
Bit like Riza Mubarak, isn't it, at the back? Leona Pathirana, very safe, gets the ball into his hands, has plenty of time before he makes that kick into touch.
Well, came from the same place, the football field. Riza Mubarak also very much a footballer before he made the switch to rugby, and look where he ended up, Sri Lanka's first choice fullback for a long time. And that may just be on the cards for Leona Pathirana as well if he plays his cards right. Gedaragoda, the ball was dropped, so unfortunately the Kingswoodians have no protest because it was entirely their fault that they lost that ball. And this is experience, isn't it? Zoisa just dropping the ball there and Gedaragoda dropping it again, just in case the once wasn't enough. It's the experience to go to the front of the line out in these conditions, Dinuk. You really need to make sure that you adapt to the conditions. Maybe play a short line out, get Zoisa up, but don't put pressure on the back of the line out, because you're putting a lot of pressure on your thrower, you're putting pressure on your catcher as well.
Yes, exactly. And you see a lot of school teams like to go to that fancy number 6 early on in the game, and even in conditions like this. Yes, there are a lot of opportunities if you go to number 6, but is it safe to first win the line out than to think after that what's going to happen after that? Yes, Karunaratne.
Leona Pathirana well back in his 22. It was carried back, so he can't put it deep into touch. But that ball came down and just stopped, and Ekanayaka will be asked to run this one back. Screaming for the ball, but Asiri Senivaratne opts for the kick, and that's a good option as well. The ball just stops dead though, and there's no chance for Tumula Veligampala to run onto it. The kick a little bit deeper might have given Veligampala an opportunity, and that's something that Asiri Senivaratne needs to think about. Off the side of his boot, but it didn't stop in time for Veligampala to exploit that ball.
Yeah, perfect option. Had he collected a boot at that ball down the park, would have been a good opportunity for them to score there. Nevertheless, he didn't have enough angle also, Asiri there. He had a defender in front. Once again, Kingswood had a player jumping in front, but not managing to turn over that line out. St. Peter's securing ball, trying to do a rolling maul here. And now the maul starts moving forward. It will be very interesting to see if Kingswood will concede a penalty here. Luckily for them, they break away the Pete Wrights. Opportunity now for St. Peter's College. Vimala Dasa trying to show and goes stepping off one. Referee playing advantage. High tackle. Taking the ball into contact is Hilmi, who had a good game last week too. Here's another pick and drive by Fernando, the try scorer Johan Fernando. Now the big forwards moving the ball in the center. Abdullah taking the ball at that occasion. Karunaratne, but it will be a penalty coming up for St. Peter's College. Again, interesting to see if Leona Pathirana will have the distance, or will he go into touch?
That's the high tackle that the referee was talking about. Just a swinging arm by Senivaratne, no real malice, but that has to be penalized. Referee having a chat to the captain of the Kingswood team. Parindu Veligampala being told that his team is on a warning now, that there's been a couple of high tackles. The next one may just go to the bin. Still using the old spiral technique, Dinuk, Leona Pathirana. I'm sure if he makes a transition to club rugby, that a coach is definitely going to help him with that drop punt technique that a lot of the kickers are using now. But for the moment, it's working for him.
Yeah, he looks old-fashioned, concentrating. I think he has been taught the basics of old school rugby properly, where he has to exactly start after a switch from another sport. And here's an opportunity for St. Peter's now. Kingswood commit a lot of players onto the ground. St. Peter's, if they have the body positions right without falling on, they can go and fall over the try line. Yes, they have scored the second try of the match, first in the second half.
That was a really well constructed maul, wasn't it, Dinuk? It looked that perfect arrowhead formation. It was a good win in the line out. And Julian Charles smashes over from close range, but it was so well constructed. There was absolutely no chance Kingswood or any other team in this league probably would have stopped it. Look at it here. So well put together, so neat. And Kingswood's body position just not good enough to try and get under that and stop it. And Julian Charles going in the tackle of Rajanayaka there for the try. So that's a deserved lead on the scoreboard, Peterites will be thinking. And Lianapathana to add the extra points and give them 10 points just for the second half effort so far.
It's a matter of playing territory from now on with these conditions for St. Peter's College. If Lianapathana can get this kick in, Kingswoodians have to score twice. Kick is good. In between the posts it goes. 17 points to 7. Now St. Peter's College leading. In the 45th minute mark, Shehan Lianapathana, who has controlled the game so far very well, has gained a lot of territory. Puts a tap on the referee's back just to keep things nice. And here's that rolling maul once again. Charles breaking off that maul in the end when he saw the opportunity to score that try, and Lianapathana adding the extra points.
Really good play in the front of that maul, Dinuk. Good strong body positions and really getting under and moving away the defensive players there. Really outstanding work. Pereira collects it for St. Peter's. And now it goes back to Lianapathana. Keeps it in the field of play, and Ekanayaka now will have a chance to counter-attack. He likes to run with the ball, the fullback, and gets the fend in. Rajanayaka on hand as usual. Hirusha Sampath sniping straight through the middle there. Here's the captain, Veligampola. Hasn't had his hands on the ball too much this game so far. Kingswood have been doing a lot of defending. Here's Chandra Ratna now, but not allowed to run onto the ball. But the referee says that that's because the Peterite line was offside, and this is where they'll be wanting, this is where they'll need to make sure that they show Coach Martis that they've improved from last week. And they will be looking for the touchline probably here, as the referee goes over to attend to an injury.
Here's the replay once again. Nicely placed there by Rajanayaka. Thought he didn't have enough support, picked the ball up, rolled on and placed it.
And that's the referee right on the spot there. Both those Peterite players pretty much flopped over. It was like an American Ninja Warrior moment where they just went straight over the ball off their feet. Difficult to regain your feet and stay there.
Ins and outs of the Schools Rugby League 2018. Join Shana Kamarasinghe on the breakdown every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. on ThePapare.com. The breakdown every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Join Shanaka on ThePapare.com.
Here's the kickoff.
Injury.
Pereira. And that's the injury. I think it was a bit of a stinger, was it?
Yeah, maybe a head knock. Never know. This time, Kingswood College very wisely going into the front of the line out, pick and drive.
Sampath now to Chandraratna. Again going short side to Veerasinghe. The two props have carried well today again for Kingswood. Here he is again, big Chandraratna. Manages to make yards, not held, so he rolls one more time. Here's the captain Veligampala. Flying up in defence was Vimaladasa. Manages to make an important stop. Hirusha Sampath looks for the cross kick, but Liana Pathirana has it covered and it might just beat everyone into the dead ball area. Probably not the right option. Sampath is a good kicker, but he looks to his boot as the first option a bit too often, Dinuk. He needs to try and keep it in hand a little. It's good to have a scrum half who can kick, but you've got to keep defences guessing. When you opt for the kick all the time, the defence can hang back.
Yeah, maybe he knew there was advantage coming off. Interesting call going for a scrum of that penalty. Kingswood College. Couple of times they've kicked the kick option, Shanaka. Unluckily for them, the ball has been bounced into touch. Not that whether that will hold the ball on the park.
Vimaladasa has been having a good game so far. And a nice short side for Gedaragoda if he wants to go. Sampath, that's exactly where they're going. Hirusha Sampath smashed in the tackle, manages to lay the ball back, but Jason Karunaratna hacks it forward, and now this is danger times for Kingswood. Almost managing to get his foot on the ball was Nizran there. This is dangerous when the ball is being hacked forward like that. Players need to be mindful of their ankle injuries and stuff like that, so hopefully there won't be too much hacking at the ball with players throwing themselves at each other's feet. Nizran there, doing really well to compete for that ball, and unfortunately Hirusha Sampath once again just throwing the ball away when he didn't have to. Should have cut back in and just made sure that Gedaragoda could get back up again and support him.
This is where experience will come in, isn't it? For Hirusha Sampath, not sure if this will be his last year playing for Kingswood College. Looks like he has one more year to play for Kingswood. It's a very young team, this Kingswood team. If they can get someone properly to do some work in the pre-season, next year almost half of this team will remain.
That's good news for Kingswood because they have been easily one of the mid-table teams. Karunaratna to Vimaladasa. Now Vimaladasa looking for Madhusanka, coming in on a tight angle. Rajanayaka does brilliantly to turn that ball over. But the ruck was formed, says the referee. He has a wry smile on his face, Rajanayaka, and he has a yellow card for his efforts as well. If we can look at that again, we'll see who had the rights to the ball there. And he may have just got beaten by the ruck. Watch him coming in here. Rajanayaka goes in for the tackle. And yes, the ruck seems to have been formed. It's a 50-50 call. Seen players allowed to get away with a bit more.
Did he involve in that tackle is another question. He was holding on to that player in front of him. So he had to release and come back.
Well, that player wasn't the ball carrier, Dinuk, so that's not a tackle. It's just whether it was a ruck. That ball touched by Chandraratna. So it's still touch in goal because it was in goal, I think, when he touched it. So it should be a 22-meter dropout.
It is a 22-meter dropout.
Poor old Rajanayaka sitting there having to dry himself off, and he'll feel aggrieved.
He's one of those last year players for Kingswood College who have 4. Chandraratna, Gedaragoda, Rajanayaka and Valigampala, the 4 of the starting 15 will leave. 11 players will remain.
It's very interesting that we'll see what Kingswood managed to do in the off-season. This experience will be invaluable to them. Shahan Lianapathirana carries it forward and straight into the tackle of Shazan. And Shazan didn't roll away. So this is unnecessary discipline issues that is creeping into Kingswood's game. They've already conceded 10 points in this second half. And if they are to try and make sure they stay in touch, they've got to make sure they don't do silly things like concede yellow cards and easily preventable penalties.
Yeah, there's a gap of 10 points for Kingswood College, which they have to bridge within the 17 to 17 minutes. Penalty for St. Peter's College, Liana Patirana. Almost has his eyes covered with the strapping on his forehead. One of those uncharacteristic kicks there by Liana Patirana, replied by Hirusha Sampath, goes straight into the hands of Jason Karunaratna. Here's Liana Patirana once again, puts a left foot chip. Lovely technique there by the Kingswood wintry quarter. Gunatilaka sliding onto the ball. Sampath to Valigampala, taking the ball into contact now. Sampath once again. Chandraratna looks to offload, decides not perfect conditions to do that. Sampath once again going for the kick, charge down, opportunity for Sweeters College, nicely picked up there and rolled away, set up beautifully for the Petrites. This should be another high tackle. Here's Nizran taking the ball into contact, coming off the bench for St. Peter's College. A pick and drive close to the try line now. Jason will look for options. Now he swings it wide to Vimaladasa. Once again going out. A long skip pass. Not the kind of rugby that Petras or Martis, Sanat Martis will want to play, but that's how Jason Karunaratna plays. Not called mark there by the Kingswood player. Offside. It's the call.
The kicker, says the referee, so they didn't retreat once the ball had been kicked. Here's Julian Charles, a try scorer. Heavily strapped right knee for him. Not ideal conditions to be running around with a strapped knee, because the slip sliding can put a lot of excess pressure on the lateral ligaments of those knees. He seems fine though. Pereira on your screens, who's been at the forefront of those driving mauls that we've seen Peters execute so well.
We spoke of the halves combination, another partnership where we have Union Assurance on our board. Let's start a life-changing partnership like Sampath and Asiri Seniviratna, the halves combination for Kingswood College. You have done a good job so far for the Kingswoodians. Here's Veera Singh now.
That's a better line out from Kingswood. Zois are winning this one at the back, but again the construction of the maul is not as efficient as St. Peter's have been. You need to get your big boys in there, up at the front. And it was a maul, so if they lose this, they'll cough the ball up, but they've got it back now. This is better from Kingswood. This is where they're dangerous. Nice run by Shazan. Still managing to hold on. It's good counter-rucking from St. Peter's. Shazan still going. There's surely a high tackle. Yes, the referee is consistent in his calling of it. It's good to see. And Kingswood winning themselves a penalty. If they've kept their ball in hand long enough, they've managed to make something happen. But it's desperate times now, calling for desperate measures as Seniviratne off the bench tries to roll his way into a bit of space. Hirusha Sampath now. St. Peter's line speed is good. Vimaladasa makes an important tackle. Here's Valigampala, dragged to the ground by a few players. And Hirusha Sampath again now looks for a few options outside. And Seniviratne's kick is really well read by Leona Patirana. And Leona Patirana cannot get outside his man. Has a little word to a would-be defender in Seniviratne. That's all good to see. Nobody getting carried away there, but the referee should probably have played a little bit of advantage there just to see what happens.
Seniviratne will be celebrating his birthday in a week.
Well, hopefully he'll be celebrating it with a starting slot. Dinuk seems to have been dropped to the bench after a start early on.
Here's that high tackle incident earlier, which happened there, but gained Kingswood College the penalty.
They go to the back again. This time they managed to do it well, but again Charles dragging down that maul. Nothing coming of it, so referee will call them back for the penalty. And there's 11 minutes to go. They might have looked for 3 points.
Yeah, big call to be made, isn't it? But Hirusha Sampath is a good kicker, good place kicker. Got a couple of 40-meter kicks in this season.
Yes, he's got the range, and he made what would have been the match-winning kick against St. Joseph's from a big distance out, so he certainly knows this ground. But in these conditions, and the fact that they have to score a try as well, Dinuk, what do you go for first? Do you go for the try first and then see what you can make happen? Or do you get within a score? So they've chosen our first option.
I think that's the correct one too. Get the score narrowed down to 7 and then try to score a try. If you get another penalty in the next 5, take that too. Unless if you are in front foot and confident of a try. Kick looks good, and it is a very good one from Sampath.
Excellent kick from Hirusha Sampath. He always knew that it was going between the posts. He's a confident little player. If you can just get him to make others around him a little better, this guy is going to be a good prospect for the future. Zoisa's line-out win, that's what set it all up. And Julian Charles had to go down there. You can see him at the bottom of that, just collapsing and making people run over him.
So Kingswood College back to 15. Rajanayaka walking in after his time spent in the naughty chair. So with a player minus, they managed to score. Kingswood College will be very happy to concede that. The next 9 minutes will be very interesting.
Certainly will be, as St. Peter's will know they want to get a bit of daylight between themselves and this dangerous Kingswood side. Kingswood again will be mindful of what happened last week and know that they can't afford to take a backward step right until this game is over. And this is where the defense will be tested for St. Peter's. Vimaladasa makes an important tackle again there, but not before Asiri Seniratna managed to make a bit of a run. Shazan puts the outside of the foot kick in and just doesn't find its mark. St. Peter's recover that ball well. Spinning out of one tackle is S. and Fernando. And they'll want to slow it down now, the Pete Wrights. Jason Karunaratna shouting his instructions to his forwards. Just directing traffic from the back there. Manages to rescue that one, juggled it a little bit. But you can watch him, Dinuk. That was a great camera angle we had earlier when you were looking at Jason Karnaratne. Watch him over the ball. His eyes are everywhere. He's looking up, he's looking to the side, he's seeing what options he's got, and he's also looking at what the defense is doing. And if you're a scrum half, that's a really important skill to have.
Yes, exactly, to spot what's in front of you and where your own players are. If he spots the gap. And it's also important for his teammates to sink in, as Liana Patirana makes two crucial mistakes, not kicking out. And here's an opportunity for him now, counter-attacking, steps off one, takes the ball into contact.
Well, he'll tell his coach that that's exactly what he wanted to do. Get the ball kicked back right to him and try and score a try instead. But that end of Havelock Park is always a difficult one to find touch in, because you get the wind coming like a tunnel over the pavilion there. Has been the undoing of many far more experienced players. Flying in into the tackle was Tumula Valigampala, but Peters do well to try and protect that through Silva. The number 22 on the floor, guarding the ball with his life almost. St. Peter's again, knowing that possession is crucial. They'll hang on to it and hang on to it. They just wouldn't want to give possession away here. 6 more minutes on the clock to run down with one score in it. Plenty could happen, especially in these conditions. And the referee saying that there was a penalty there because there were hands in that rock. Vimaladasa does a smart thing by putting the ball up in the air. Ekanayaka does well to go up and claim it. Now the ball seems to have been lost, but lost illegally, is it? Yes, referee says that was straight in from the side. So St. Peter's, all they had to do was stay down in that corner, Dinuk, but they go and give away a penalty.
Yes, exactly. I was a bit surprised when Vimaladasa made that quick tap, but he managed to make ground and also secure ball. But unfortunately, giving away a penalty this time, it's Sampath who has given away a position for St. Peter's College. He has an opportunity now on the outside. The foot race is on. The tackle has been made in the end, trying to offload off the deck. Coming in support is Madhushankar.
KD Fernando has been really good on that left side of the field. Abdullah takes it into the 22. Jason's pass just too hard. And Soisa picks it up, but referee has said that the line was offside. So Kingswood really not doing themselves any favors by giving away those penalties and then coming away from a not 10 position as well. Shehan Lianapathirana should really look to try and put 2 scores between them.
I think this is in his range.
Smashed in that tackle as well from Veerasinghe. Poor old Kevin Vimaladasa has been in the wars today, but he's done well, the fly half.
Very interesting call, not going for 3 points. Or still are they waiting for a decision, trying to kill some time?
Well, 3 points will just give them a little bit of peace and stability in their minds. They need to know that they've got probably the best kicker in the league by a long way, Liana Patirana. And it's his way out in front and should be easy pickings for him, but they don't seem to want to take that 3-point option. Not sure what's going on here, The touch judge did come in and report something to the referee. I'm not sure whether there's been some crowd trouble or what it is.
I think looks like it's something to do with the crowd. Of our crew, what is being reported is that there was a bottle thrown at the assistant referee. So that's why the match has been stopped. And I'm not sure why exactly that happened. Free hit. If you have an opinion on cricket, send your views to editor at ThePapare.com. Free hit, where everyone gets a free hit. An opportunity comment on cricket. Lots of comments, of course, comes when this cricket season starts, where Sri Lanka will tour West Indies. The squad is out, so you'll have a lot to say on that. So write to editor at ThePapare.com.
Well, this is unnecessary. With just 3 minutes to go in the game, I think the officials should look to just get this match over and done with. Yes, safety is an issue, but if you get some stewards out there, there's very few people in that section of the crowd. Can be policed. Match commissioner.
Here's that replay once again. If you there you go.
That's the bottle that has been thrown onto the pitch. I'm sure our cameras will be able to help identify who that was later on in the piece. Not sure what they're going to do about it, though. It's the host team's problem, of course, to make sure that crowds are controlled, and St. Peter's will say they've done all they could. And what more can you do, really? That's the bottle falling in there. You can see it splashing onto the floor. And you can see that the gentleman in the black trench coat, just on the top of your screen, knew exactly where it came from. Someone should go ask him, perhaps. And they've sent some stewards there to police the area, and I think we'll get on with the game. Sena Council has prevailed. Completely unnecessary delay when we've got bad light looming, we've got worse weather coming. It's a thankless job, isn't it, refereeing, Dinuk? Fortunately, the perception of referees is such that if you get it right, if you get it wrong, someone's always going to be upset. Largely because a lot of the visiting crowds, or not visiting crowds, but just crowds in general, have a pretty tenuous grasp of what the rules are.
Yeah, there's an app of Law of Rugby. If you can download that, of course, we will try our best to tell you what correct exactly is. And it happens in Sri Lanka, isn't it, Shanak? I'm not seeing this around the world, where the referee is the most respected player on the ground, or the referees panel is the most respected. But unfortunately in Sri Lanka, sometimes referees take the spotlight for incidents like this, as St. Peter's College take the 10-point lead now.
And that's the unfortunate part, because referee Veranga was right on the spot there, as Liana Patirana puts a little bit of comfort between himself and this Kingswood team. Veranga was right on the spot. There was no way that Kingswood were 10 meters back. And he got it right and still gets a bottle thrown at them. So that's unfortunate. Here's Hirusha Sampath now. Ekanayaka drifting across the field to Tumula Veligampola. And surely that was a penalty, not rolling away, and the referee will have no hesitation in going to his pocket there because he knew exactly what he was doing. Did Fernando, WSD Fernando. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Fernandos in this St. Peter's College team, so you have to pardon us if we aren't getting the first names across to you. Got to pick our man of the match as well, and I think Liana Patrina has been pretty good for St. Peter's at the back, but a lot of the work has been done by the forwards, hasn't it, Dinuk? And for me, the guy who has been outstanding is Abdullah. Even though Julian Charles scored the try, Abdullah has been doing a lot of work in the front there and keeping those crumbs steady as well. So for me, it will be him.
Yeah, I think I will go with Abdullah as well because of the work that they have done so far in the front row, especially against two mobile and very talented front rows up against Kingswood, where Veera Singh and Chandra Ratna, the number 1 of St. Peter's College.
Pereira, and again another high tackle. So this has been a problem for Kingswood. They've given away way too many penalties to stay in touch on the scoreboard. And despite the fact that Liana Patrina hasn't found touch on a couple of occasions, there's been enough indiscipline in this Kingswood team. And it comes late on in the game, doesn't it, Dinuk? And you can see that that's the strength and conditioning issue. They just have not been drilled to play this 70 minutes. They're a good 50-minute team, but just don't have enough going for them.
Yeah, when fatigue sets in, that's where decision-making comes into question. And we saw that in the first game of the season itself, they fought against Royal College. They were in the hunt. And then in that last 10-20 minutes, they just gave away and still lost by 29 points, where Royal has been hammering most of the other teams more than 30 plus, 30, 40 plus points in this league. And Kingswood managed to hold on that Royal team. And that's in that first game, we saw that they were not settled. And now we see a more settled Kingswood team, but it's a young team, as we said before. And it's all hope for the Kingswoodians now for the next year. It's not over yet. The knockouts are yet to come. Couple of league matches are yet to be played. So it's the first time after a couple of seasons for Kingswood in the A division. Here is St. Peter's College taking the ball through Vimala Dasa into contact, trying to keep this nice and close and hard. This time it's Madhu Shankar. Since we have awarded the man of the match to a forward, the backs have heard it and they want to go hard at the rucks, trying to clean up.
Certainly do. And here's Vimala Dasa also, who's had an excellent game, taking the ball to the line more often than he's done previously. And that's a little chip kick by KD Fernando. Ekanayaka does really well to spin back into the field of play. And that's tough call on Tumula Valigampala, who went in to support his fullback, just lost his footing. As our man of the match, Abdullah. Strong lad, been doing a lot of the hard grafts. Julian Charles wiping that ball dry. Hilmi has been good today as well. And that's nice regal lift of Nizran in the middle of the line out. This is one line out that can perhaps rival Royals line out, challenge Adahan for being the best line out forward in the country at the moment in the schools. And that's the end of the game, and St. Peter's will breathe a sigh of relief. They've been tested today. 20 points to 10 is how the game ends. But it was a game that was dominated by the conditions. Really bad. And it looks like the players can't believe the game has come to an end, really. They're standing around and saying, well, can't we play a bit more? One thing you don't realize at the end of the game when you've played in such wet conditions is that you don't really feel as tired as you would in hot conditions. So the players are wondering, okay, we're not as tired, why can't we go on? But it has been an entertaining match at challenging conditions. And Kingswood just didn't have enough strength and power to battle these Pete Wright forwards who are outstanding today, I thought. And just getting all the bits and pieces working, nicely oiled. Players coming off the bench, Jason Karunaratne looking like he's fit. So if they can keep him fit for St. Joseph's and Royal, you never know what this Pete Wright side might be able to achieve, especially if conditions are like this in the next couple of weeks and it evens things out, Dinuk. So 20 points to 10, St. Peter's retaining their unbeaten tag so far this season. Kingswood coming close but no cigar, and that's been the story of their season. Watch for all that to change next year when most of this team goes into 2019. 2019 rather.
Yes, exactly. Kingswood College 20 points to 10. That's the final confirmation of the score today. And two big games coming up for St. Peter's College, St. Joseph's and Royal. So Joe Pate will take a lot out of them next week. Here's the second half highlights. Peters were the first team to score. That was the high shot, which was again a 50-50 call of wonderful display by the referee today, who managed conditions very well and managed players, and decisions were perfect. And that was Charles who scored that try, and Liana Patina converting it. Kingswood College also only getting a penalty in the second half of Sampath. And then there was nothing much. 20 points to 10. Penalty came up, and then Liana Patina made sure that it's a 10-point lead going in to the last couple of minutes. And St. Peter's College managed to finish this game on top. But the only worry that they will have going into the final 2 weeks is that they have not managed to get the bonus point this week. 2 tries to 1, conversions all 2 converted, 2 penalties to 1, half-time scores was 7-all, and 20 points to 10. St. Peter's College winning that. Faiz Abdullah, the man of the match, but Shanaka is just 2 tries, and that bonus point is what they will miss if Royal manages to get one this week.
Well, if Royal manage one against Wesley tomorrow, that'll be interesting to see, and this Wesley team will be looking out to deprive Royal of that, that's for sure. So you can bet your bottom dollar that St. Peter's will be cheering Wesley all the way in that game. St. Joseph's taking on Zahira should be a win for them, although Zahira will fancy their chances of scoring a few tries against its Joe's defense. And Trinity take on Isipatana, and that's going to be a very interesting game. That's in a couple of days' time, though. We should... it's actually tomorrow as well, and that should be a very, very interesting match for sure. That should see a lot of tries being scored in that game. So let's wait and see what happens tomorrow. Some interesting matches in the school's fixtures.
We have a lot of segments coming up on ThePapare.com, and 3 of those are this every Tuesday 6:30 p.m. we have the Rugby Pitya, and every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. where Shanaka will join you on the breakdown, where reviews, opinions, stats and previews will be discussed, and some exciting play will be one of those which will be featured in this try of the week. We'll have to wait and say. That's at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, coming on ThePapare.com. This all action of the Singer Schools League 2018.
From a very wet Havelock Park here, with the rain coming down torrentially once again. It's been an interesting fixture so far, with lots more coming up in the next 3 games this weekend as well. And from this dark, damp commentary studio, Dinuk Bhaskar and myself and the rest of our Papare team, it's goodbye for now. Tomorrow I'm at Royal.
ළඟ රැඳි නම
සැනසුමදන නම
එය සිංහ නම
මිහිර මවන නම
පවස නිවන නම
සෙනෙහ බෙදන නම
එය සිංහ නම මුළු පවුලට සතුට සදන සිඟ අති විශිෂ්ට විශ්වාසය
Let's start a life-changing partnership. Union Assurance.
Isn't it time to grow up? Now you can with current accounts from DFCC Bank. DFCC Bank. Keep growing.
Some see a myriad of possibilities ready to break out in glory. The choice of every Sri Lankan, no limit.
පිරිසිදු ෆ්‍රෙෂ් හිසක් තියෙන පිරිමි ශක්තිමත් ඒත් අධික තෙල් සහ ඉස්සොරි වලට පුළුවන් ඒ ශක්තිය නැති කරන්න මම ක්ලියර් මෙන් තෝරගන්නේ ඒ නිසායි ක්ලියර් මෙන් අධික තෙල් සහ ඉස්සොරි zero කරන නැවුම් මෙන්තෝල් වලින් සමන්විත නිසා මගේ හිස කෙස් හැම විටම ෆ්‍රෙෂ් ඒ වගේම ඉස්සොරි වලින් නිදහස් ක්ලියර් මෙන් ඉස්සොරි zero කරයි ලෝවාංක එකේ මෙන්ස් ෂැම්පූ
ශ්‍රී ලාංකීය ටෙලිවිෂනයේ මීළඟ පෙරළිය
MJ and JQ Shopping TV
උසස් තත්ත්වයේ ජපන් නිෂ්පාදන
පහසු මිලට වට්ටම් සහිතව
ගෙදරටම ගෙන්වා ගන්න සෑම දිනකම දැසන 10ට
MJ and JQ Shopping TV බලන්න
Dialog Television Dialog Now channel number 106
සතුට බෙදන නම
ඔබ ළඟ රැඳි නම
සැනසුමදන නම
එය සිංහ නම
මිහිර මවන නම
පවස නිවන නම
සෙනෙහ බෙදන නම
මුළු පවුලට සතුට සදන සිඟ අති විශිෂ්ට විශ්වාසය
Let's start a life-changing partnership. Union Assurance.
Isn't it time to grow up? Now you can with home loans, education loans and vehicle loans from DFCC Bank. DFCC Bank. Keep growing.
Energetic and daring, some see the world in vibrant shades. The choice of every Sri Lankan, no limit.
පිරිසිදු ෆ්‍රෙෂ් හිසක් තියෙන පිරිමි ශක්තිමත් ඒත් අධික තෙල් සහ ඉස්සොරි වලට පුළුවන් ඒ ශක්තිය නැති කරන්න මම ක්ලියර් මෙන් තෝරගන්නේ ඒ නිසායි ක්ලියර් මෙන් අධික තෙල් සහ ඉස්සොරි zero කරන නැවුම් මෙන්තෝල් වලින් සමන්විත නිසා මගේ හිස කෙස් හැම විටම ෆ්‍රෙෂ් ඒ වගේම ඉස්සොරි වලින් නිදහස් ක්ලියර් මෙන් ඉස්සොරි zero කරයි ලෝවාංක එකේ මෙන්ස් ෂැම්පූ
Be a part of the latest shopping revolution. Now you can shop from the comfort of your home with MJ and JQ Shopping TV, bringing you the latest high-quality Japanese products right to your doorstep. Affordable prices, unbelievable discounts. Every day at 10 a.m. on Dialog Now, channel number 1. Dialog Television, Sri Lanka's #1 television experience.